the drum beat drop. Guess what?
I'm just posing some questions tonight rather than coming to any kind of final conclusion. But so I was thinking about, well, why do we create? What are we here for? What are we trying to do? Why is this thing called acting matter? And I listened to this talking head on some talk show, which shall remain nameless, and she was talking about, who's this kid on one of the One Directions? Who is he? What's his name?
Zayn Malik.
Zayn Malik. Yes. And she was saying, oh my God, why is he quitting? He's got, oh my God, it's fame and fortune and he's a star and why? He's got everything you would ever want. And I was like, that's not what we want. That's the great illusion we got to pierce through. I'm not saying there's anything wrong going for those things. Fine, go for them. And you're going to realize, that's not why I'm here. That's not why I'm creating. Actually, those things are all transitory and passing, and they're not codified to connect to the real reason why we create. So why do we create? Matthew Weiner, who created Mad Men, which by the way is another great story because I think he started writing that story in the 1990s, he said. Wow. Okay, it's 2000 and I think that show premiered in 2007. It took him a long time, that's 17 some years. He said this, we have a desire to make something out of the feelings we have. That's why you want to create. You have a desire to share who you are as a human being, your stuff, with other people, even if you're not cognizant of it. It's part of the DNA of being alive. So then it brings me to this big cosmic question, is why is it that we let the corporate model determine whether or not we are of value through creating? We have something to say, that you can't create without their permission? You can. So one of the exciting things I think about being in the business nowadays is it's become democratized, and it's becoming more and more democratized. The Duplass brothers, Mark Duplass was just talking at South by Southwest, and he said some amazing things. He said that, you know, he writes, you all know the Duplass brothers, but he writes, and I think is on Togetherness. I haven't seen that show. And his brother writes for another show. Don't remember what it is, or is the creator of it. And after doing a number of indie movies, and then now having shows, he said this. He said at South by Southwest, he says, after you get to a level in your life or your work, and then you think the cavalry is going to come and beat down my door. That's what the agents were telling him, right? And then he says, you realize, no, the cavalry is not coming. And he said, how can that be? I've worked so hard to get to this level in my life. And then he says, the aha moment comes from when you realize, who gives a about the cavalry? You are the cavalry. That's exciting. The artist is the cavalry. The artist has the voice. The artist is the empowered one. You're looking for a corporate entity to say you are of value because you get the job. That's great. That's one way of valuing self. Although we discovered that that's not sustainable. So you don't need somebody to give you the green light to create. You can create. And we see it all over the place, where there are new platforms where actors break through, creators break through who aren't even actors, that then get a number of jobs or opportunities because of creating. So if we could just keep coming back to, I was just talking to an agent and he was just saying, actors have so much more power now than they ever had in the business. But I don't think we're hardwired to that. You don't really realize that the content producers, meaning corporations, are often looking to people who have a social media following, are doing something that's trending, doing something that's interesting or edgy or zeitgeisty to create something around it. So you guys, you all have stories to tell. You all have ways to create. You can't get burdened with, I don't have an agent, I don't have a manager, I didn't have a pilot season, I'm not getting out, oh, I'm getting close, but it's not quite happening that way. Don't worry about it. Those are traditional ways, but in addition to traditional ways, there are other ways. So you have more power than you think you do. The thing is you got to take the leap. It's what my best friend is always reminding me of. It's what we're always here trying to encourage and inspire us to do. And I'll end with this because I was thinking about it. You guys, you got to take the escape route in life. I think it's a really good, powerful image. The escape route. You got to do it. It's all about another way of saying the things that I'm always saying is you have the idea, you have the aha, you have the sort of instinct to move in the direction of something that inspires you. Making a phone call, doing something, creating something, calling somebody out, writing it, putting a piece up, getting together, directing a play, putting on a show, shooting a web series, whatever it is, taking the agent out for lunch, I don't care what it is, but you don't do it. So you don't take the escape route. You gotta do it. You gotta open the door and make it happen. It doesn't mean that opening of that door or going down that escape route is gonna lead to that specific thing. The whole thing is to create. Just create more. Now one of those things starts to plug into something else. Instead of consuming content, why don't you start creating content? I'm sorry, I don't need General Electric, Kellogg's, AT&T to tell me I'm a creator. Do you? Hello? Do you? No, you don't. That's pretty good. You don't need Kellogg's to tell you you're a creator. You're the creator. I don't think Kellogg's really does content, but I think it's a good metaphor. You guys, you gotta take the escape route. We are the true creators. Thank God for actors.